in the house. We're doing a restaurant review
Yes, mates
for
in the
Income
house.
Breweries at the airport. And we're just going to try it out. This restaurant has their own like in-house brewery, so I'm going to try their craft beers and try their menu, and hopefully you guys enjoy and get to see what we're eating today.
That thing's slow. Go to clip tone. Show life. Windhoek, 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 Windhoek. Lekker. That girl feels coming to her head.
That's slippery.
Good night. Wow.
Okay. So this is. I'm coming. Yeah, that's fine.
How's your girl, Bianca Knight? Wow.
So what are you having? What are you going to try today?
I'm playing to win that.
I'm going to try the JACKDAMJIEN gin, and I'm going to try all the different craft beers.
Alright. I don't know what I'm going to have.
Then,
I don't know.
chicken. It has barbecue chicken wings, chicken skewers, chicken samosa. Or we can have beef samosas, fillet skewers, cocktail sausages.
Nope, I want to have my own meal, thank you very much.
It's a crap.
Guys, this is like literally $60, and it's like you get to taste all their craft beers. On this side, it's what? A Pilsner. Or what?
This is the Pilsner. This is the whatever other one.
Yeah, the seasonal fruity ones.
I'm not going to down them like the shooters.
Just drink like a bit and give people like how they taste.
Okay, I'm going to start with the ACP red. That's very nice. I'm not a beer taster, so like it's very nice, but I wouldn't drink it on a regular basis. I started with this one, the ACP red. Let me just move this so that you guys will be able to see. So I started with this one, the ACP red. Not really.
Do you?
You want to be together?
You gonna come in here?
See what's
Okay. Because I can't move from the spot.
English IPA.
Hide, 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 ho.
The what?
I like this one, but the aftertaste is pretty rich.
Which one do you like?
The porter.
South
But
Africa.
then I like the initial taste, but the aftertaste is pretty rich. See, this is a pilsner.
What is it called?
It's a pilsner.
Oh.
I don't know. I don't think
Hello, peeps.
We are celebrating.
Like she said, we're disintegrating. Look at my hair. Haven't had a touch up since the Carter administration. Look at this. These kids just pull my hair and run away. Old phone, I can't turn it off. Oh no. Oh, that's how you turn it off. I'll say they paid 60 USD for beer. Yeah.
In Johannesburg.
Yeah.
In a restaurant or?
Someplace they. Yeah.
You like more of the pilsner?
He proposed marriage. It's an ant. Destroying my sandals.
So, when you want to start this?
No, I thought it was red. What's the picture?
It's more for the ladies.
Yeah,
So I don't like toxic.
Shaka.
The beef burger, I added some melted cheese, as you can see, and some avos. I really like how they cut the avo out.
yeah, I didn't add any extras, guys.
Salt water. Hydrates very well.
The beef burger,
That's what I think.
some melted cheese, as you can see, and some avos. That's the garlic first, and you can have a nice meal.
Babe, you don't know how happy I am. I'm preventing myself from having enough pasta.
Not happy yet. He's eating a burger. Doing this BS, man.
Fries are so hot.
Yeah, they're hot. Like your toes.
I like the pilsner. Let me try it out. It's a very
You said you missed chicken?
Yeah.
You needed to eat chicken?
Girl like Whitney Houston. African version.
I had a vision of love.
Oh, this is Mariah Carey.
And it was mine and you gave it to me. I had a vision of love.
I already quoted the database.
It's not a good.
You're monkey free.
DATE.
No, that time when I was not sure you told me. I've been waiting to eat that monkey for the whole day.
Take the mood down. Take the mood down a little bit. I was with the white girl. It used to be so hot in California.
What you used to?
When I was with the white girl, it used to be so hot in California. I used to eat naked. She'd take her bra off and start eating on the bed. I used to eat naked, no socks, no underwear, nothing. She'd be like, "You always have your ball sack out while we're eating." And I'm looking at her like she naked too. But it's 130. It's 130. It's hot. Yeah. So it reminded me of that. I used to be completely naked. That's how it used to be. And sweat would be pouring. Sweat would be pouring everywhere. I'd be wet eating.
But to be honest, I like the cameo with my friends.
Who sent you there?
Like, I think trying out like places, it's nice also.
Yeah, but I'm not going to stop going on dates.
Fries crispy.
By the way, check those beers.
This is yours.
Like,
Don't eat
chicken
it,
fish
too.
beers, I love being a man.
Give me the skin.
I
She's so happy. She can get chicken grease on her bed sheets. You gonna tell anybody? You gonna tell somebody?
Who?
You gonna tell somebody?
I'm gonna tell Lana. Who are you gonna tell? You're gonna tell Randy you're gonna see Shaka Island, baby.
I don't know how to get. It's hard to get from what I've been reading. It's hard to get there.
Babe, rule number 1, you are getting out of Kenya. It's possible. That itself. Oh my God. Imagine.
Asbif Dunker. Say it.
Asbif Duncan.
Asbif
Asbif.
Dunker.
Give me some.
I can't believe it. Asbif Dunker. Asbif
Asbif Duncan.
Danke with a D. Asbif Dunker.
Asbif Duncan.
I can't believe. Thank you.
Who told you to go there?
Afrikaans. It's special to my house too. You know what I want to do? When you're in a restaurant, you know how to like talk to rich and love your job. I want to sing a Maria Mateo song.
You should do so flirting with them.
That's me, man.
I saw someone saying South African women are not friendly with other women.
That's okay.
It doesn't matter. I'm with my husband.
They're in Dubai.
This is celebration. Yeah.
What countries does it go through? What countries does it go through?
Angola.
Angola.
See, we have a stopover.
Whoop,
at
we get another
Angola,
stamp.
3 hours.
I have been to Angola.
Yeah. We're on the roll, babe. On the roll. We have to call your parents when we're at the villa.
I don't know nobody that's been to Angola. I don't even know no famous people that's been to Angola.
Like, you know what we're gonna do, babe? We're gonna definitely make sure we get ourselves a power bank so that we don't have to worry about our phone losing electricity when we are in power charge when we are at the airports. A power bank.
Load shedding. Load shedding.
And load shedding, whatever, but we're gonna get a power bank, okay? Have to call them when you're at the airport. What you doing, guys? I wish I was talking to my family. I'll be flexing on them so bad, but it's not meant to be.
So how much
it's
does
not
it
meant
cost
to be.
to travel around South Africa for 3 months? Well, if you're a budget traveler, you'll probably spend a little bit less than I did. But if you're a luxury traveler, you'll probably spend significantly more than I did, like a lot more. And that's the beauty of South Africa. There's so many different ways to travel and enjoy this country, and it attracts all different types of people, all different income levels of people, and we can all enjoy it. So the purpose of this video today is to share with you how much I spent during my 3 months of traveling
time
to
to
South
dump.
Africa.
It's time to dump.
Time to dunk. What is dunking?
Basketball.
Hey
Trying to
guys,
score in the
welcome
basket,
back to the
everybody's
channel.
running and
I'm
jumping
T
in.
Max. I
Dunk
make
it.
videos about travel,
Score anyway.
learning
I'm
foreign
trying to stop you from
languages,
scoring, you
immersing
scoring.
yourself in culture, flying drone with cinematic drone videos, and the occasional sketch comedy music video. I do a lot of stuff. That's why I have so many channels now. All for the algorithm. Anyway, for those of you who've been following my channel for a while, I've made a few
Big like your
videos
coochie.
like
My
this,
God.
Colombia,
Oh,
Bolivia, and in Brazil.
my ancestors
And
are
basically,
just
in
doing
these types of videos, I break down bikes
Somersault.
across 5 different categories.
Somersault.
win.
The first one being
Win.
the bus,
Win,
or
win,
flights
win,
to the
win.
location,
Win.
the lodging or
Win.
accommodations at
Win,
that
win, win,
location,
win.
transportation in
Win.
and around that location,
Wait.
food, just eating and
It's so
drinks
funny.
is included in that category.
So you
as well.
said your nanny, your
And
cousin,
lastly,
she beat you
miscellaneous,
because she
which
went to
covers
South Africa. Now what will
tourism,
she say?
random
only went for 2 days.
credit card fees, laundry.
What would she say? You've been to
basically things that don't fit
Tanzania,
into
you've
the
been
other
to
categories.
Kenya,
During
you've
my
been to
time in
South
South
Africa,
Africa, I
you've been
visited
to
10
Angola.
different cities,
What?
and I made a vlog for every single city. So go ahead and look at the
I don't know no
links
movie
below
stars
and
that's been
check
here,
out
like,
those vlogs.
Hey guys, I'm in Angola. I ain't never heard.
This vlog, so that's 20 videos right
This is
there.
that girl, that billionaire girl. I asked her
About
for
my
money.
traveling around South Africa.
Dos Santos, she's running from the government now.
Her is-
Interpol wants her, actually. The British
And
police, they
this
want her.
time,
You can't
was
find
a
her.
little bit different because my flight from Houston to
Nobody can have,
Johannesburg
like, a billionaire.
was gifted to me by my parents, And not only that, I
wanted.
flew luxury, first class, business class, and I made a whole video about it. So definitely check that out.
Wow, 16 viewers.
Well, that brings my flight cost all the way down to zero. And then the
Yeah, of
$22
course.
I spent, that was when I transferred back from.
You said some things you said some things you
I
regret.
stayed in Johannesburg. I stayed in the same hostel, Explorer Backpackers.
I remember what you said,
outside the city. It's in Parkhurst, maybe like 30 minutes north of the city. And this area was supposed to be safer and nicer, and I think it was. I only went to the city a few times, so for comparison's sake. But we could go out at night, walk
You
around,
messing with a
do whatever we
boss.
wanted to do. No
Yeah,
problem.
let them know.
It spends a significant amount of money on transportation here because
Who's
I kept
laughing
going
now?
to the city to do things.
Me?
I take Ubers to
I'm gonna have to
Soweto
let you guys into my
sometimes,
bedroom.
multiple tours out there,
In more ways than one.
up to Pretoria, and also different areas.
A wig? This is
around
not a
where I
wig.
can buy my drone. So this is why my transportation expenses were
Grows on my
significantly
scalp.
higher than normal and higher than anywhere else in South
Not
Africa.
wig.
I mostly cooked at the hostel,
calling
which
your hair fake?
obviously
He
makes your
says,
expenses go
love the
down.
wig.
But because of where the
You
house
can't
was
love
located,
the
the
wig.
trip over,
This is not a
had
wig.
tons of restaurants and cafes and stuff like
Synthetic
that. So I
toupee.
did eat out quite a bit, but it was a good balance, I think, of cooking at the hostel and eating out. And then for my miscellaneous expenses, they're actually so high because I had an issue with my hard drive, and I panicked and I had to go buy another hard drive so that I can back up my hard drive to this new hard drive. And I learned that electronics are not cheap in South Africa. They're not as bad as in Brazil where you have that 60% tax, but there's like a 30% tax here. So I ended up buying a hard drive for significantly more than I would have paid for in the US, but it was like an emergency. And I was able to salvage the files that I was looking for. And then after I came back from Kruger Park, I stayed one night in Joburg with my buddy Marshall.
What am I gonna do with my
I just
computer?
stayed at his house, so I didn't pay for lodging there.
I said,
And
what am
the
I-
reason stayed
Oh, he's
one night
gay.
is because he lives closer to the
Oh,
airport.
Lord.
And the next day
Took a
I
picture with his
had
boyfriend.
to go
I'll
down
be
to
back
Durban.
again before we go.
So I
Buy
didn't
another
really
one.
add too much more to my expenses for my time in Johannesburg. So for
I'm
the
gonna ask the guy if he
nights
can
that I
fix this
spent in
one.
Johannesburg, I
Use
spent
one, babe.
$50.29 per
Can't
day.
speak
And like I
much
mentioned,
about
I
it.
went to Kruger Park for 3 nights, and I caught a files that I was looking for. And then after I came back from Kruger Park, I stayed one night in Joburg with my buddy Marshall. I just stayed at his house, so I didn't pay for lodging there. And the reason I stayed just the one night is because he lives closer to the airport, and the next day I had a transport to go down to Durban. So I didn't really add too much more to my expenses for my time in Johannesburg. So for the 18 nights that I spent in Johannesburg, I spent $50.29 per day. And like I mentioned, I went to Kruger Park for 3 nights, and I caught a transport out there. Definitely check out that video because there was a lot of drama with the transport. Like, the video was supposed to be about the safaris that I did in Kruger, but the whole first beginning of the video was just about the drama of getting to Kruger Park. So definitely have a look at that when you get a chance. I stayed at the Kruger Park hostel, which is a little bit more expensive than other hostels that I've stayed at, but this hostel had free breakfast and free dinner. The breakfast was continental, so like a normal breakfast, but dinner every night was something a little bit different. It was hot food, they prepared it, it was usually really good. So that was a bonus because in Malroth Park where I stayed, just outside of Kruger Park, there's barely any stores. There's like one, and it's, 15-20 minute walk. So it was very convenient that they had food for us. And this is why my food expenses are so low. Really, I only need to buy my lunch each day when I was in the park doing the game drives. But you'll notice here that my miscellaneous is really high just for the 3 days I was there because game drives, safaris, are not cheap. Oh my goodness, they are way more expensive than I thought. And it's funny because I actually skipped a few safaris later, like Addo, because it was even more expensive than Kruger, and Kruger's supposed to be the
Who is
best
gay?
safari in South Africa.
Why are you gay?
I'm glad I did it, and it was
So
my
who is
first
gay?
safari too, so absolutely
Why are you
worth
gay?
paying for. So for 3 nights in Kruger Park, I spent $98.85 per day. So after I stayed with my buddy Marshall, I caught the Intercape bus to Durban. It was supposed to be like a 10-hour, 11-hour bus ride, and it ended up being 13, which is not too bad. And when I arrived in Durban, my buddy John picked me up. If you don't know who John is, I met him about 2 years ago when I was traveling in Suriname. He was also traveling there and said,
Bro,
hey,
why
if
you
you're
in
ever Durban,
Suriname?
let me know. And so I let
You in
him know,
Suriname, bro?
and I was able to stay with him for 8 nights. So lodging was 0. And I'm super grateful that I stayed with John, not just because it was cool to hang out with him and his company, but also I went to the only one hostel that is active right now in Durban, and it was not inviting. I don't think I would have had a good time there. And later I did meet a guy who did stay there, and he was like, yeah, it was terrible. Yeah, thanks, John. Dodged a bullet with that one. My transportation costs were really low because I walked everywhere. I walked all of Durban, and a few times I walked so far, or the day I picked up the pies, there was food, it was heavy, so I got an Uber like once or twice in the 8 days I was there. And because John was working most of the time, he would just like give me recommendations like, oh, you should try this, you should try that. And a lot of it was food related. So I would go out and buy this food and try that. And even sometimes bring some stuff home for him. So I mostly ate breakfast and dinner at the house, and then I would eat out at lunch while I'm walking around. And if you watch the Durban video, you'll know that I was a bit disappointed with the tourism Durban. Like I couldn't find stuff to do. There was no free walking tour. There was just so little about history and culture that was readily available. I did find a few things. I found some museums, which were free, thankfully. But it was just really hard to find touristic things to do, and I think most people just go to the beach. So this is why my miscellaneous is 0. So for 8 nights that I stayed in Durban, I spent an average of $12.79. So from Durban, I wanted to go up to Drakensberg and to Lesotho and visit all that, but post-COVID, logistics and transportation have gotten worse, and so it was just really difficult to get up there. So I ended up skipping it, and I just went straight to PE, Port Elizabeth, and it was supposed to be a 12-hour bus ride, and it ended up being a 17-hour bus ride. And the bus service that I took wasn't Intercape, it was like a competitor, and I wanted to compare, but now I know Intercape has better timing, so I'm just going to go with Intercape from now on. And I actually plan to stay in PE for a few days because it's a big city. After being there like 1 or 2 days, I was like, yeah, this is enough. And so I only stayed 2 nights. The hostel that I stayed at didn't have any other guests. The only
You
other
stayed at a
people
house?
that
You
were
must be
actually staying
rich.
at the hostel were workers, and they were living there long term. I had the room to myself, and the city of PE was worse than Durban as far as tourism goes. So I didn't spend any money on tourism. Even a lot of the museums were closed. So I mostly just walked around the city and flew my drone. And that was pretty much my whole experience in PE. And the city was small enough that I could walk around. I never needed to catch an Uber. And the little bit of money that I did spend on miscellaneous was actually just to buy a SIM card. So for the 2 nights that I spent in Port Elizabeth, I spent an average of $50.69 per day. So because of the whole debacle with the bus, I decided to try the Baz bus, which is a shuttle service. Currently only works on the Garden Route, so that's between PE and Cape Town. But before, and still on their current advertising and pamphlets, they used to go from Cape Town all the way to Joburg, and even through Durban, and even up the coast to San Lucia and Drakensberg. So like when I looked it up, I was super excited. It's like, oh, I can do all this stuff. But currently they only go from PE to Cape Town. So there's 14 stops on the Garden Route that the Baz bus stops at. And so for the budget, what I did was I took the $119 I spent on my one-way ticket on Baz bus and just divided it by the 6 locations that I went to using this service. So that made it about $20 for each trip. And I have to go ahead and plug them right now because the service was really good. It was really useful for solo travelers. So I took the Baz bus from PE to Storms River. And the reason I went to Storms River is because I went to visit Tsitsikamma Park because everybody told me I need to visit Tsitsikamma Park. And there's like a suspension bridge and a waterfall and all this. And I was like, okay, I'll go to Storms River. And the place that was the cheapest was the Djembe Backpackers. So I ended up staying there. When I got there, it was raining, so I didn't have a great first impression of the location, but when the weather got better, the location also got better. But the people there were really nice, and I did meet some people finally, because the first hostel I stayed at didn't have anybody, and in Durban, I was with John. So this was the first hostel I stayed at where I actually met some people that I could hang out with, and I did end up doing some tourism with other guests. Storms River is so tiny that even if you wanted to call a taxi or Uber, you wouldn't be able to get one because they don't exist there. Breakfast was included with the lodgings, and so I only needed to pay for lunch and dinner and what other snacks that I ate, which didn't add up to much. And aside from Tsitsikamma, I didn't know what else to do there, and the hostel offered some scooter rides. I was like, yeah, that's different, it's unique. And also I had the idea of like filming with my drone, filming some of the scooters. The tour was a bit expensive, but yeah, I wasn't doing anything else. And then the other fees that I spent were for the Tsitsikamma Park, and it was actually quite expensive. This is just entry. I mean, didn't come with anything. It was over $20. And the problem is your ticket's only good for that 24 hours. And so Tsitsikamma is actually in other places where I stayed on the Garden Route, and I had to pay for new tickets every time I went into this park. So that adds up, and you know, it makes it feel like it's kind of expensive. And it's just hiking. That's what we're doing at the park. We're hiking. So for the 2 nights that I stayed in Storms River, I spent an average of $70.09 per day. From Storms River, I caught the Baz bus to Plettenberg Bay. I stayed at Notando Backpackers. B&T is the manager there, the owner. She's really cool, lots of fun. She will speak her mind though, so yeah, be ready for that. But the hostel was great, the dynamics were really nice, and every day they bake something fresh. So one day was brownies, and one day was cookies. You can actually buy wine and beer on the site, so that was convenient. You don't have to go all the way to the store to buy that kind of stuff. And I ended up meeting some Spanish guys from Galicia, and when I was hearing them speak, I was like, man, that sounds Spanish, like Cantabria, like the north of Spain, but then I was hearing like Portuguese words, and I was like, oh, that's so weird. The never heard a Spanish speaker speak Portuguese, and now that I recognize Portuguese, I knew what the words were, and so Gallego is actually like has the Portuguese words in it, and so when I visited, years ago, I didn't speak Portuguese back then, so I had no idea. It definitely imports from both Spanish and Portuguese, and so now for me to be able to hear it, I was like, oh, that's cool. And
I need to
ended up,
leave.
Hanging out with those guys for a while, and they bought like 3 bottles of wine. That's how I know that you can buy wine on site. And as always, it's just fun practicing my Spanish or any of my foreign languages when I can. The big highlight in Plettenberg Bay is Roberg Park, which everybody says you gotta go to Roberg. So, and it was a nice hike. I went in the afternoon with my Korean friend that I met in Storms River. Actually, we drove over there. We just did the sunset hike. $5 or $6 to get into the park, but it was significantly cheaper than Tizicama. And also with Vinti, she and I went around. We were flying our drones, so she actually took me to a few places, and we also went back to Tizicama. We went to an area where you don't have to pay to get in, so that was cool. And also while I was in Plettenberg, I had the opportunity to be there during the Christmas lighting ceremony. So the whole town's on the main street, and they're dancing, and that's the first time I heard the South African national anthem. It's just really cool to see the people out there just having a good time, and it was free. The whole town's there. Obviously, you buy food or whatever. So for the 2 nights that I was in Plettenberg Bay, I spent an average of $45.80 per day. So from Plet, I caught the Baz Bus to Wilderness, and the hostel in Wilderness was amazing. Just the view, I was just so enamored with being able to work on my laptop and just looking out at the beach. One night you could just see dolphins just from the hostel, just sitting there, just jumping in the water. Up to that point was the best hostel just because of the whole experience. And also when I got there, I met tons of people. It was the first hostel that was like super lively. The whole town came to the hostel on the weekends, like Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So the bar was packed, so you could meet people, you could meet locals. So I ended up meeting some people that are from the area, from George, and they're like, yeah, if you come back, I'll show you around. So that was really cool. I ended up extending 1 extra day there just because I enjoyed it so much, and I was trying to catch up on some editing, and it just was a peaceful location. It was easy to get into town, like a 5-10 minute walk. I did this hike across this old abandoned train track bridge. Quite unnerving, but it's like an adrenaline rush. And when I was in Storms River, they had told me when I get to Wilderness, I need to go to a certain restaurant and try the cheesecake there. So I went with some buddies, and they ordered like food, and I'm ordering dessert for dinner, because I was told I had to try the cheesecake, and it was pretty good. And because I actually never entered in any national parks while I was in Wilderness, I didn't spend any money on tourism. Most of my money went to food. So for the 3 nights that I spent in Wilderness, I spent $44.13 per day. So from Wilderness, I caught the Baz Bus to Mossel Bay. And originally I was just going to stay at the hostel there, but somebody told me about this train that's on the beach that's now a restaurant and hotel, and if you get a chance, you gotta stay there. And when I originally looked it up, it was full, but then I just checked it while I was on the Baz Bus, and they had an availability. I was like, all right, I book it just 1 night. I was only gonna be there 1 night anyway, and so I was willing to pay a little bit extra. It was a hotel, effectively. On the website, it says that they have dorms, but I walked around and I couldn't find them, so that also would be an interesting experience, to stay in a dorm on a train. And like most of the towns on the Garden Route, Mossel Bay is really small, so I was able to just walk everywhere. Didn't need to pay for Uber, and I also didn't pay for any tourism. Just walking around the hiking trails was good enough for me. I got to fly my drone in some really beautiful locations, so that always makes me happy. And because it was a hotel instead of a hostel, I had to eat out for all of my meals. So for the 1 night that I stayed in Mossel Bay, I spent $85.70. From Mossel Bay, I caught the Baz Bus to Hermanus, and I showed up to the hostel there, and I was super impressed with the layout, the amenities, the facilities that this hostel had. Unfortunately, there was only like 2 other people there, but you know me, I made friends with both of them. Hermanus was also a small town, very easy to walk, super flat, other than going up Hoy's Kolpi, which was free, which was awesome, just a small hill in the middle of the town. And then you can actually walk the mountain that's behind the town. There's a hiking trail that goes up there, and you can look at sunset, and that's also free. So that was cool. And while I was walking around my first day, I met a local, and he said, you gotta try abalone, which is a local seafood. And I found out that this is an area where they actually farm this animal. And I wanted to go visit, but because I was there during the holiday season, the farm was closed for tourism. So I couldn't actually go see the process of how they grow them and learn the history and the biology and all that. So I just went to some local restaurants and ate the food. This animal is not cheap. It's very expensive, and they even have people who were poachers who would jump in the water to go like without masks, to go get this animal because it's so expensive and it's worth so much money. So my food budget was a little bit higher because I wanted to try different dishes with this specialty. And again, because I'm here during the holidays, so again, my next stop was